and welcome to the H.E.R Network on ZINGOTV channel 251. Please remember to download both the Barn Burner and ZINGOTV apps in their respective app store on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. ZINGOTV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and Fire TV sticks. Roku and Roku sticks also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Happy Sunday, everyone. I've been waiting for the whole week to bring you the new episode of Single Pringle. Today's special episode is dedicated to my very first guest, Samantha Waters. So let's just like talk to her. I'm gonna.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Sorry. I'm gonna call it chit chat with Samantha, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. It is such an honor to be here. I know we've been reaching out to each other and I'm like, oh, we should definitely do a crossover show. So for some of you guys who didn't tune in, Deanna was on my show on Lavish, which airs from Monday to Wednesday at 6 p.m. on ZINGOTV channel 250 and 251. And she was there with Joe and we had so many relationship questions about apps, about dating, about everything like that. And that was super exciting. But unfortunately, the show got cut short and we never got to finish our amazing questions. They were just getting so good and so exciting. So I'm like, oh my goodness, we need this guru advice. We need this relationship advice. We need to come back. And I was like, we definitely have to connect back with Deanna. So thank you so much for coming on my show. And I'm so glad to be here on yours to ask the same questions. You've provided so much advice before. My friends were like, oh my gosh, get her back on the air. We need to hear what else is going on. So super excited there. Before we even jump in though, I feel like a big fan right now. I've been preing your Instagram, like watching your Instagram, and I'm like, wow, was she at Niagara Falls a couple of hours ago? Like, what's going on? Tell us about that. Oh my goodness. Like, did you just go?
Yeah, I went there yesterday with my friends. It was an amazing trip. It was my first time being there.
Oh, did
And
you like it? Oh my gosh.
absolutely. I mean, it has this small town, like city, and it kind of reminded me of a Disneyland. So I called it Loki Disneyland. Yeah, but like the views, the vibes, like are so different from Toronto.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then wait, is this your first time? Wait, so obviously you said it's your first time and stuff like that. But like how was the weather too? Because I know like up there, is it a little bit colder? Like because you're by the water, or like what was it like?
Yesterday was warm, like
Okay, it was
pretty warm,
warm.
7 degrees, something like that. But I
Mm,
still got my jacket on. So
okay,
it was quite
good.
windy. Yeah, so I was actually glad that you mentioned Instagram pictures because I want to share something very hilarious that happened yesterday. Okay, so at the end of our trip, like we were driving, and I asked my friend to send me pictures, like those
Okay.
pictures that we took. I asked him, and he gave me his phone and said, "Here, send them over yourself, like, because I'm gonna be busy after that, so just do it right now." Yeah,
Okay.
so I did that. Like, I took his phone. I did that. Like, I was sending those pictures, and that's it. And then like I got back home, and I didn't get pictures. Like, I didn't get them. So I texted my friend
Like the same
asking like,
one, his phone, like the same one?
yes. So
Yeah,
I
okay.
texted like, where the hell are my pictures? Like, where are they? And he was like, he called me immediately, and you know what he said?
What? Oh my god.
you sent
Please don't tell me something.
you sent 122 pictures of yourself to my ex.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh. Wait, Deanna, is
Yes.
she Deanna too or something? Like, what do you mean?
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was so shocked. Like, how could that happen? He was like, well, my ex, she's named Diana. And then I remembered that when I was sending those pictures, I didn't look at the number. I just looked at the name and it said Diana. So I assumed that was me.
Gosh, oh
Just
my
imagine
gosh.
getting pictures like from your ex.
Oh my gosh. Wait. So he like called you immediately and he was just like that. And then what happened was, I mean, does she know you at least? So she's like, oh, I know like Deanna is like is a friend,
He
or
doesn't know me. It
so
was
what's
so
happening? So what's happening now? Like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Did he just like freak
so
out, or is
like
he just like, oh my gosh, like
he
is
sounded
he
so
upset?
embarrassed. He sounded so embarrassed,
Oh
and
my
I was
gosh.
like, I was laughing so hard.
So you didn't even apologize, you were just laughing?
I was just like, I mean, I didn't know, like,
Oh
and
my
then she said that
gosh.
she blocked him.
She blocked him? Well,
Yes.
I mean, 100 though, like not even 4 or 3,
Yeah,
100 pictures over.
120 of
Oh.
myself, like the whole photo shoot.
Oh my goodness, what a trip for him to come back home to be getting blocked because of you.
Yeah, that is
That
something
is
to
so
remember.
crazy. Oh my gosh. That is like, oh my gosh. I don't even have stories like that. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I guess if he's like, oh, just send it yourself, obviously you're like, okay, this is my name. You know, you're not searching up your phone number. So, oh my
Yeah,
goodness. That is just one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. Oh, I feel
really.
bad, but hopefully he's not mad or anything, right? Like he's just like, it's okay. Like it's whatever. Like does he, because was
No,
he still in
sure.
contact? Was this his recent ex?
No, he's not. He
Uh,
cut everything off, and that was just like out of nowhere.
oh my
God.
gosh. It's
I
okay,
mean,
Tiana. It's okay.
he's not mad at me. I mean, that stuff happens to me on the regular. I swear to God.
On the regular for you?
I'm such a troublemaker.
Oh my goodness. Wow, wow, wow. Well, I mean, that is an amazing story. So, like, you know, and it relates to the relationship whole thing too, because it's like him and like, it's what do you do in that situation? I thought you would give him advice and be like, don't worry, I will handle this or whatever. But if she already blocked him, then it's like, I guess
Let's
there's
meditate together. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, at least I mean, what a great way to start in today's questions then. Okay. Well, then I guess I'll just jump right into it. So then, with further ado, I know like the one we left off was question 4. So this question, I know I was asking you, I was in the middle of asking it or you started answering, but this question was, when is the best time to get intimate with a person you're dating? You know what I mean? So I guess when you first start, I feel like my friends always ask this. I asked this, I'm like, when is it too soon? Is it too far? You know, we don't want to be too easygoing or too harsh and like strict. So like, when is the best time to do that, to start that?
Yeah, so it's always your choice and your decision when would you like it to happen, but
Uh-huh.
I would say that it's always better to wait, especially for girls. Like
Mm-hmm.
we live in this time when it's normal to get intimate on the first date or even with a
Mm-hmm.
complete stranger, right? Like it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens next is that those people they just flee the next morning, and you never see each other again. You never get a
But
text or
why? But why is that? Like, is it just because we were too easy the first time and just gave it to
yeah.
them?
Yes, because like, like what do you expect from a guy when you gave him what he wanted right away? Because guys
Mm-hmm.
are simple, straightforward, and very sexual. Like they see you, they like what they see, and like they're not thinking about getting to know you at first.
Right.
When they first meet you, the two things that are actually on their minds are, can I get her in bed? And if yes, how can I do that? So that
Right.
what keeps them going. And like if you
Mm.
gave if you gave him what he wanted initially without him putting any work, he
Mm-hmm.
would run, and you can't just blame him for that. That's why I think you should make him work for it. And he
Make him
should
work
get
for
to
it.
know you first. He should get to know you first before getting intimate with you. Because like
Mm-hmm.
remember there are always girls who will give him what he wants right away.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And
Mm-hmm.
the question is, do you really want to be one of them? Like, don't
One
you
of
like want
them.
to respect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, the strongest relationships are actually high school sweethearts and those where a girl made a guy work for intimacy.
Work
And
for
like,
it. Right.
yeah, and if he doesn't want to work, then let him go. Like, streets are literally there, so
The
goodbye,
streets. He
bro.
belongs to the streets.
I mean,
Oh
like,
my goodness.
he wouldn't work. Yeah. So, because like a real man knows that he has to put some effort and work to get what he wants. But like, of
Mm.
course, there's a really thin line between playing hard to get and having self-respect. So you have to be really smart about it.
And I guess that's where I get confused too, because it's like, what's the difference between the boy and the man? You know what I mean? Like, how do you know like that too and stuff like that? But as you're saying too, like, it's just the first things sexually attracted and whatever. So it's the first things that come to their mind. So we have to be careful in that situation. So like, even with that, like I was gonna say something else too, but I know I have a follow-up question. So it's like, is there a certain amount of days we should wait before investing in that person? So like, is it like a couple of days in, a couple of months? Like how long do they work for it? Like, cause I know my friends are like, no, maybe 10 years max. I'm like, what? 10 years? Like, I don't know if I can keep a guy hooked for that 10 years. So like,
Yeah.
how long? Like, is there a certain amount of days or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, obviously 10 years is too much. Like, I think it's impossible. Like, this guy would just run away and find someone else. Like, he's not gonna wait 10 years. And
Oh my
like,
gosh.
have you ever heard of 90-day rule?
The 90-day rule. No, tell me about it. Oh
90-day
my
rule.
gosh.
Have you do you know Steve Harvey?
Steve Hardy? Yeah.
Harvey.
Harvey. Yeah,
He's a
yeah, yeah,
comedian,
yeah. Of course. Sorry.
he's an
Harvey.
author. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So what he gave an advice to women that they should wait 90 days
Mm-hmm.
before giving the cookie. He calls it, well, the
Hours down
intimacy.
there.
uh, so you have to wait like 90-day rule.
A 90-day rule. 90 days, is that like 3 months? Because it's like 30
I
days,
feel like
30,
yes,
like,
approximately, yeah,
yeah,
3 months.
approximately 3 months in. And then, so then what is, so in his obviously guy opinion, I know we don't have Joe here on today. I know he's like, I wanted to come on, but he has something to do with football, but he's definitely watching right now. So shout out to Joe, the boss, the
I
leader of the
know.
network here. So like, does that mean like from a guy's perspective, that's like okay thing to do? Like they're not gonna run or leave. Like there's still a chance, obviously, of them leaving, but like, is that like
Yeah.
that's you're saying that's how long they should work for it, kind of thing, and like build all of the getting to know you thing?
Well, if he's really interested in you, then
Mm-hmm.
he will wait for it. And if
Mm-hmm.
he's not, if he like, if he doesn't like want you that much, so he's just gonna like
That's
find.
so harsh. If he doesn't want you that much,
I mean, that's the
he's gone.
truth. That's the honest truth. Yeah, nobody's
Mm-hmm.
gonna tell you that.
No,
So
it's
I'm
good.
telling.
It's good. It's good. Because I feel like I have so many friends around me that are just like, no, don't worry. Don't. Because they don't want to. All of us are just so like in denial. But then when I come on Deanna's show, when I come with talk to you, you're like, no, he's going to leave. That's it. That's the
He's
harsh truth.
gonna,
You found it.
yeah,
You
your
just
friend's
tell us
gonna
what it is.
sugarcoat everything.
No, but it's good that you do that. It's just a hard medicine.
Yeah.
hmm So that's good. So the next question in it is, what are some ways we can have a good online dating experience? So it's like, for example, don't take everything so serious or have fun. Like, give us some like examples, like, or not examples, but like, what are some tips, I guess?
Like to have a good online dating experience or what?
Yeah, because I feel like so many of us girls out here and guys too, I'm not gonna like, dismiss a certain gender. Every gender kind of thing has like these experiences that are like, oh my gosh, is he a catfish? Is he, is he this? Or, like he's not serious or whatever. So like, is there any tips that can like make it a smoother run for us, like an easier transition into like, you know what I mean? Especially during the pandemic. It's not like we could just go out and meet everyone and stuff like that. So even with online, like specifically, how do we do this? I know before on my show, some of the earlier questions you were saying like sometimes it depends on the app you use, because some do, you said survey personality kind of things, and some is just age range. And I was telling you guys I put mine all the way to 100. So it's one of those kind of conversations that we have. But any tips like that you can provide us with, like to kind of just make this easier?
Mhm. Yeah, so most importantly, you just have to look at it as an experience, as a journey of finding yourself. Because, like, you're not only learning about people, about opposite gender, but you're also learning about yourself, like what you want, what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And um, the most intriguing part about online dating is that you never know what might happen, right? You could have
Mm-hmm.
started as playing, but then you could grow up to something more serious. That happens as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like most importantly, as I said, like you learned what you actually want and need in a person you want to be with. So I just recommend that, like to look at it as a fun experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't
And then
take
with
don't take it too serious. Like
don't take it too
just go with
seriously.
the flow. Yeah, just go with the flow.
Go with the flow and stuff, because sometimes I'll meet guys who are, they say they are serious and they're saying like, I'm looking for a relationship, I'm looking for something a little bit, you know, more mature, whatever. But then I'm like, I always start catching feelings way too soon in the beginning, and I'm like, how do I just try to have fun and not like, you know what I mean? It's because the little texts they give me or the good mornings or you know whatever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's thinking about me. I had no idea, you know what I mean? And then in their head maybe they're texting like three other girls or whatever, and I know like I can't be too like over strict and be like, hey, why are you texting them? Right? You said this is an online dating experience to have fun. So I'm not their girlfriend to tell them, you know, all of that. But like any advice in terms of that, like how do you like, because I know you're saying just have fun, look at it as an experience, but you know, like how do you do it, Deanna? How do you just like, you know, chill and go with the flow, like not get hurt and not get so attached? Like, should I have multiple options at once?
I don't know, like I've learned so much.
Mm-hmm,
I've been that girl like who was stressing out over
mm-hmm,
guys, and I guess I've just matured and
mm-hmm.
like I've
Is that
started
after
to
like
trust myself.
experiences that you've kind of matured, or like after a while, or
Yeah, experience like helped me most of all. Yeah, so like I've learned to focus on myself, and guys are just like on the background, you know.
on the sides, on the background?
I mean,
For sure, for sure. And then the next question that kind of goes into this is like, oh, this one's kind of about the Her network too. Because I don't know, do you want me to jump into the ones about the Her network, or do you want me to like do the ones that we covered on Lavish? Like, do you want me to just go forward, or
let's talk about the lavish one.
the Lavish ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so on our show too, since like if you guys didn't tune into that as well, we were also talking about apps and stuff like that. So I know I was asking, what has your experience with online dating been like, and are there certain apps that are better than others? I know we were asking this type of question, and like you can go ahead and answer that too, like I know we covered this too.
Yeah, so as I said in the lavish episode, so I have like small experiences, like small stories, and it all completes the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
And these stories are all different, as well as guys I met there. They all different. Like I tried to meet with different guys so that I could
Mm-hmm.
see the pattern, you know,
Have you
because
became
it's
like friends with any of the
not
guys you date? Oh my gosh. Have you became friends with any of the people that you kind of like talked to from online dating or something in the past? And then like, you know, because you're meeting new people all the time, right? So then if it comes like that, have you ever like stayed in contact with some of them?
yeah, like with a few of them, but we're like friends, nothing more, you
Yeah,
know?
of course. So I'm like, oh wow, I love that, because I'm like I just started during the pandemic, as I told people on Lavish, and I'm like, you know, can we like, you know, I guess if it doesn't work out because we're not like compatible or everything, is it possible to still stay friends with these people, or like, are they like, no, sorry, if you're deleting the app, if you're off it, I don't want anything to do with you? Is it like just like, you know? So yeah, that's really good too. So you're saying yours has been positive. Obviously, you said a mixture of good and bad before. But like, what would you say is like your best, this is me going off topic, but what would you say is like your best experience with like, you know, an online date or like whatever, but or like an app, like a certain app you use, that your favorite app or your the worst app, like
Yeah. Like in terms of apps, like
anything, yeah.
what app is the greatest one or what?
Yeah, like what is your prefer, I know it's like raining outside over here, so I don't know if you can hear the rain, but yeah, what is your like go-to app to use, like that you think like is more better? Like I know when I was looking for something more serious, you were telling me, I was asking like, is Bumble okay, is Tinder okay, and like stuff like that. So like what do you think is like, I don't know, like how do you feel about the apps and stuff like that too? Like do you think that there's certain apps that are more serious than others, or um yeah.
So well, Tinder, first of all, I don't think it's really good for something serious, but you can actually meet a lot of people there, a lot of connections. And as I said, like you can get a promotion there as well. Like you can get followers there very quickly and easily. Like yeah, and speaking of apps like Hinge or Bumble, OkCupid, like more that are supposed to be for serious relationship.
Mm. Are
It's a
those the
really
ones that
tough
you were telling me that
one.
has like the personality test one?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Tinder doesn't have that, but Bumble you're saying, and like Match or whatever it is there. So those ones,
Yeah.
so do those ones alter, like how does that work? Do those ones alter to your personality to find like common interest? So if I put like, oh, I like soccer, is it gonna put me with a guy who likes soccer or something? Or like how does that work?
Yeah, it's gonna match your common interests, your preferences,
Mm-hmm.
like your answers to questionnaires, and they're gonna match you with your match. They're gonna match you with your match.
Perfect, perfect. Sorry, I'm gonna keep muting myself just because like I don't know what's going on in Toronto. I'm looking outside and it's like rain, rain, rain. Are you in Toronto too right now? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
like I don't
am.
know, because maybe because I'm beside the window, but it's like pouring rain over here. Okay, well then that's good to know about like certain apps. You're saying Tinder is more like less serious, and then apps that have the personality are more serious and stuff like that too. And then I was gonna say too, this is like the follow up question to that one. It says, does the outcome of the dating experience come from the app? Like the app you use or from the guy you choose. And I asked you this before too, but I think go ahead. I was gonna say, like, I think you said both. I can't remember what you said. What did you say before?
Yeah, sure. Like, of course, the app plays a certain role,
Mhm.
but the choice of the guy is like more significant
More
because, like,
significant. Right.
yeah, because you communicate with him, right? And the
Hmm.
app is just like it's presenting you, it's giving you the opportunity, like it's matching you with certain people, and it's amazing, like how random it can be, right?
Definitely. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I definitely agree too, I guess. Like, I don't know, because I'm like, is it their personality too? I don't know if you ever had those moments where like a guy slides in, but with a pickup line. You know what I mean? And it's just like, hey, like, da-da-da. And I'm like, is this the personality? Is this the app? Maybe like, because some apps, I think, like my friends told me that some of them give suggestions of what to say. Like, it'll say, do you want to say, hey there, hi? You know how, I don't know if you have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not a dating app, but you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
have LinkedIn,
yeah,
and then it would
sure.
be like, it could be like, when it gives you options of like easy ways to just reply, and it'll be like, say thanks or no worries or whatever. So some apps, like one of my friends told me, I can't remember the app name, but she's like, it gave like certain lines to be like, oh, ask them their favorite color, ask them this, or just, and it just sends them. So I'm like, are those like, I don't even know. I was gonna say, are those a good way to
I
kind
feel
of break the ice?
I feel she was talking about Bumble because it does have
Bubble does
this.
that? Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. So does that help out? So
giving
then
you
you
what
kind
you
of
should
know.
say.
Hmm?
Yeah, it's like it's telling you like what pickup line you can use.
What pickup
That's
line you can use? Why is it because it's more effective? And it's like, oh, purple. Like that's my favorite color. Like,
I
I don't
guess
know.
so.
That's
Or wait,
interesting.
Hinge does that too, actually. Yeah.
Hinge does
It,
that too.
or no. Coffee meets bagel probably as
Coffee meets
well.
bagel. Are these like food
Yeah,
apps or something? Like, oh my gosh.
I thought that it is a dating app.
Oh
To be
my
honest,
goodness.
it's a dating app.
Oh my goodness. I feel like there's so many weird ones too. I remember a while back, like my friend was showing me this app, and it's like, I can't remember, but it had to do with the new technology. So it's an app based on your fridge. So like you would date people who have like the same fridges as you and stuff like that. It was so weird. I don't even know, but it was something like that. But I will definitely get the name and like probably tell you after. But
Okay,
the,
girl.
like that's so weird. I guess I don't know. But the next question too, here we go. What are some red flags people should look out for when it comes to dating? And like, how do you know if the person is? Oh, we already said how do you know if the person is like serious or like stuff like that. But like, do you mind reviewing that too? I know last time we talked about red flags and like, how can we know? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, red flags are different for every person. Like something that is a no-no for me might be a yes for you or
Mm-hmm.
okay. Oh,
And
and
then like, tell us an example because I know last time you said like, okay, this what is a no no for you, Deanna?
for me, it's
Mm-hmm.
when a red flag, it's when a guy starts talking sexually on the first date.
Hmm.
You know, he's moving too fast. Like, I don't like that, to be
You know,
honest.
you don't like that because the 90 days you need to wait.
Yeah. Yeah,
So does
I
that
mean,
mean
I
the
like
90 days? You said it's not to give the cookie, but does the 90 days include like talking sexually and stuff like that or anything like that? Is that like you have to wait 90
mm,
days to say like, hey, I think you look so sexy, or is it like that? Or
I mean, I think it doesn't count. I mean,
it doesn't
like the
count?
actual cookie has to be given after 90-day rule.
After that, I feel like on the 89th day, like, woo, yeah,
Yeah, like fireworks and stuff.
oh my gosh. Because I guess
The guy
that's a key
was
last
like, I've been waiting for it 90 days. He's gonna be crazy.
90 days, cross it off on his schedule there. Oh my gosh. I
Uh,
know you said that's a no-no for you. What about this? So I've had some dating experiences where guys start talking to me about their ex-girlfriend. Now, what does this mean? I know this is not in our questions here, but is this a red flag? Is this just like them just telling me like, you know, she used to do this. Oh, my ex-girlfriend used to do that. Oh, she loved that. Or da-da. I mean, it gets annoying for me, but I don't know if this is like just them trying to ease in conversation or whatever. Like, what is that?
yeah.
Is that a red flag?
Like, what is he talking about
Just about
specifically?
her or his memories with her, or like, you know, like, oh, I did something so dumb and like she slapped me and like I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to be better. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know, is this a red flag or like what is that? Like I've had those experiences where they talk about their ex and I'm like, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about my ex. So like, because I
I
don't.
feel you. I feel you. Yeah. So
So
it's
what does this mean?
100%. It's 100% a red flag because
Mhm.
he still has some place in his heart for his ex because he's
No,
talking about it.
Diana, you're breaking
Girl.
my heart. Diana's like, he still has. I'm like, don't say it. Fingers crossed. Oh
I
no.
hate it
Okay,
too. Like
continue.
when they're talking about their exes, like I hate it too. Like it's just disrespectful,
It's just
So
there.
I immediately know this guy, like he's still thinking of her. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like he probably still thinks of her when he's drunk
Mm-hmm.
or when he goes to sleep. So she's still on his mind.
So then, if I was to get into a relationship with somebody who's still talking about their ex or who still has her on his mind, what comes at the outcome is that? Is there possible to still like? Because I in my head, it's like okay, maybe he will still like me more than her, or like whatever. Is that become like an unhealthy relationship kind of thing there? Because it's like, you know what I mean? Like competing now against his ex-girlfriend who's like, you know what I mean? Like, is that where that outcome kind of starts happening, or like is that
Yeah,
why it's
kind of.
bad?
Yeah. It can be like it can get toxic if you're
If
speaking
we're
on
just
that.
there in that. Oh my gosh. I really hated to hear that. I was like, no, because like, sometimes I feel like I look at them and I'm like, do they even realize that like, we're thinking about like, like you're talking about your ex, but like nobody cares, like,
Yeah,
like it just
exactly.
doesn't seem like, you know what I mean? Like I always catch
Yeah.
myself, like if I start talking about my ex, which I really don't because I don't want them to feel uncomfortable or insecure or anything like that. And it's okay. What if he asks you about your ex? Is that okay? Is that a red flag? Because if he's asking you what was your last relationship like,
If he's asking you about your ex.
yeah, like if somebody was on a date with you, Gianna, and he was like, okay, how was your last relationship? Like, what's going on with your ex? Like, is that a red flag or is that just him trying to get to know you? Like, what is that?
I would say it's a huge plus because he's really trying to get to know you, your past, like he's
Is it
trying
okay
to.
then to kind of talk about your ex? Like, is it okay to kind of like tell him like, or
Yeah,
her or
sure.
whatever?
Yeah, but if he brings it like out of nowhere, for example, like you're Netflix and chilling, and he's just like, "Oh, that girl, he looks like my ex. We were on that trip." La la la. Like he brings it out of nowhere. Sure, like it's irrelevant. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
like both talking about your exes, about your past relationships,
Mm-hmm.
that is like appropriate.
Right, right. Oh my gosh. I feel like there's just so much in here. I just wanted to get all of that out in the open. And then some of the other questions here, I know, and I'm like, oh, okay, so what is the fastest way to move on from a person? So like I've had my heart broken so many times, and I know like people are like, oh, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know the song too. What doesn't kill, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
with the yeah.
So I'm like, okay, like, you know, what is the fastest way to move on from a person? Is this like, I know there's so many like options out there, but what do you think? Mm-hmm.
Well, if this was really easy, we wouldn't ask that question, right? But in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, there are two ways of moving on from a person,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't say they're fast. Because like the
Okay.
first one is to find someone else as a rebound.
Oh gosh,
But like,
but that can get messy. That can get messy. I feel like my friends,
yeah,
I've tried to do that, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm still in love with him. You know, and it's like, but yeah.
yeah, because like we all know it's just a temporary destruction, and you have like your ex in the back of your head
Mm-hmm.
still, and you're playing happy with your new partner, but in reality, you think about your ex when you're drunk, like, or when you go to sleep. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the second way of moving on is more healthier. It's like healing and focusing on yourself. This one I really recommend. Like, I'm not saying I'm not saying
Necessarily.
like necessarily, sorry,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no worries.
necessarily isolating yourself, but like just not getting involved in any relationships for a while. That would help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like single for a while. I mean, yes, it hurts. Yes, you cry. You want that person back, but it's important to move on with your own life. It is a long process, but when you've completely moved on from that person, you would be so relieved and you wouldn't want to come back. Unlike those who found a rebound, because they would keep coming back until they understand that it's already gone.
See, I've tried to do those type of situations too. So I've tried to stay in isolation and stuff like that. And my friends will be like, Sam, let's go out. Let's, you know what I mean? Let's go clubbing. Let's go meet people new. And I'm like, no, no, I just can't. I'm just not in the mood. I just, you know what I mean? And I've stuck by myself. And then, you know, I realized I purposely choose sad songs to listen to during like when in a breakup, because I'm like, I don't want to hear no happy song. I'm like, put on something that can resonate with me. Just tell me how I feel. You know, the feelings songs, like getting my
That's a
feelings
part of
inside.
healing. That's right. That's a part of healing.
Oh my goodness. But then the moment, like, you don't understand, like, sometimes, like, when I get isolated like that, he might message back or stuff like that. Like, they might jump back in the
Yeah.
picture. And then what? Is it like, oh my gosh, like, instantly I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe there's still a chance. Maybe he's still thinking about me, like he says, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
is this like just still, should I just still, like, you know, be to my, like, I know you're saying focus on yourself, but every time I start focusing on myself, that's when the guys start coming and they're like, oh,
Yeah,
like,
'cause
hey, you know, you're happy. Let me try to ruin that.
yes,
Like,
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like they usually hit you up when you're like the greatest, like when you feel the greatest of yourself, like
yeah.
when you're on your top. And when you're on your ground, like when you're down there, like
You're on your grind and
yeah,
everything like that. Mm-hmm.
yeah, he doesn't appear in your life. So he like they appear only when you're happy.
So then how do we maintain it? Like, I don't want them to go or anything like that. How do we maintain it, Deanna? Like, I guess, like, I know you were telling me in the beginning, like, you know, like, if it's meant to be, if he is willing to work for it and whatever, he'll be there, right? If he was already gone, like, anybody who's like not really in my life right now, like, is obviously not meant to be there, and it's just like, it is what it is, right? But like,
Mhm.
how do you maintain a healthy relationship? Because, you know, I feel like within this, like, in the beginning, sometimes the chase is what I love. And I'm like, they're trying so hard, boom. And then the moment they get comfortable, it's like, oh, yeah, like, I'll text you later. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know, like, what happened to all the.
You don't want that person anymore. Yeah.
Mhm. So, like, how do you maintain that? Like, is it supposed to be more balanced or less, like, is it compromise? Like, what is it? What is like all of that?
Well, it is a really hard work. I mean, relationship is a job, like part-time
Mm-hmm.
job. You have to work, you have to sweat for it, you have to compromise, you have to communicate with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that thing with the chase, and it's really common.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but like I don't know, like what we can actually do, like with this chase thing.
Hmm. I mean, I guess, like, as you were saying before, I'm like trying to think to help out too. Like, I guess communication. I guess like maybe telling them, can I like, is it bad to like, because I know sometimes my friends would be like, okay, like don't tell him this, or don't double text him, or don't do this, and I'm like, but this is how I feel, you know. But then sometimes guys are not like, I don't want to say guys in general, guys and girls, you know, are not just so open to the feeling, the mushy gushy, like, listen, like I feel like this, I feel like you should message more or do this more. Like, is it bad to kind of voice like what I'm missing, or like, you know what I mean, like, or anything like that? Does that kind of help the relationship, or does that like take it down?
Yes, it is a communication. You have to tell your partner what you want, what you expect from him, because like,
Mm-hmm.
how could he know if you don't say that, right? He's not
Mm-hmm.
like he doesn't read minds, so you have
He
to
doesn't
say.
read minds. I feel like I always expect them, like, come on, because you know, girls will get it. And you know how you, like, I can tell you one thing, you're like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I can automatically be like, okay, whatever. But I guess like guys is like different, like, or the partner you have, like, it's just like they don't get it. Like, I don't know, I just feel like they don't get it. But maybe that's just because the guys I always go for is not like as compatible as me. But now that I'm taking your tips, I'm like, okay, definitely I'll have to find out in the beginning, go on the proper apps, put the personality in there. Because I don't know, like we never have anything like really in common, you know what I mean? Except for like going out, you know, or like whatever. Um, so that's kind of like one of my questions there too. Um, and then I know, what else do I have here? I said, oh, what does it mean to be left on red? Oh my goodness. Like, you know, when you get ghosted or anything like that, or you text, this literally goes into the other question there too. And it like, does it mean they're not interested, or like, what does this mean?
So, to be honest, I don't know why most people make it a big deal when it's
Mm-hmm.
really not. It doesn't necessarily mean they're not interested. Most of the times people are busy. They have their
Busy.
own life. Yeah, they have their own lives. Yes, we are on our phones 24/7, but
Mm-hmm.
we can't text all day long. Like, we want to have time to scroll through social media, we want to take selfies, we want to watch videos or whatever. What's wrong with that? I mean, you have to again focus on your life and stop wondering when the person is going to reply
Are you
and
reading my
whether
mind? She's like, stop wondering. And I'm like, I didn't even tell you that over here. I didn't tell you I was wondering about it.
yeah, so stop wondering. Like, in most cases it doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
And like, would you be interested in that person if he replied you fast? I don't think that. Like, it's the part of the chase, don't you think?
I
Like,
guess
you
so.
have to
I
like
maybe you're right.
keep
That's a
the
part of the
interest.
chase. Pardon?
Yeah, you have to keep that interest, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you have to like keep the destination between your texts. So
Oh my gosh. Okay, so then I guess this kind of falls into my second question, which is not here too, but like, what about when it becomes dry? Like, I keep, because there's a difference, right? You know, when you get ghosted, right? Or just he's just not talking to you or whatever. So you're saying like they're busy with life or whatever. And if they're not interested, they can either ghost you or like tell you. But then when the convo becomes very, very dry, like, so it's as you said in the beginning, like, you know, there's the chase and stuff. But sometimes I feel like it'll be like the same, like, hey, oh, what's up? Nothing. Okay, cool. Like, you know what I mean? It starts getting dry or whatever. Is that an indication that they're not interested anymore? Is that an indication that they're busy, or like, what does that mean?
I mean, usually, you can feel when person is dry, like if he is being dry, like through text. Like, can you feel me?
Does that
Like,
mean that I did something wrong, kind of thing? Or
I mean, you can ask him. Why not? Like, you can say like,
you want
did
me
I
to
do
just
something?
ask and be like,
No, no,
hey,
no, no. Don't ask. Did I do something wrong? Don't do that, girl. Just
I'm like, hey, Deanna told me to ask you, did I do something wrong? He'd be like, what are you talking about?
you could just ask like, is everything okay? Like, is everything
Mm-hmm.
okay? Like, how are you? Like, ask him about him first, you know. But
Right, right.
obviously it depends on the level of your relationship. Like, if you're just
Mm-hmm.
like on a talking stage,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can just like ask, how are you? Like, how have you been? Like, I feel like you've been distant and
Okay.
stuff.
Oh, that actually works. I guess because like sometimes if they're going through something and like don't want to talk about it or anything like that, I guess that's a
Yeah.
good way to kind of like, you know what I mean? See what's going on to show that I care too. Do you know what I mean? Instead of jumping
Yeah.
to conclusions and then I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I cannot believe you just like, you know, just dead me off, like whatever, dried it out. But because I feel like I always jump to conclusions and then it makes it way worse because he's like, whoa, I was just at the Metro with my mom or Walmart. Just, I couldn't reply to you in the car. I was like, and I'm like, okay.
Sometimes you have to chill.
Just wait it out a bit. Yes. And then the next question is, what is an important question to ask your date when getting to know them?
So the most important thing.
Yeah, like what is an important question to ask your date when getting to know them? So I guess like, like you know what I mean? Like I guess when I'm getting to know them, there's some questions, like I guess there's a lot to know about a person. Everything is important to know about them. Like, but I don't necessarily need to know about their allergies right away. You know what I mean? So is there like other important questions that's like you know what I mean? That I guess this goes with the other one that's like to help me ease into the relationship. So it's like maybe like, what are you looking for? Or something like that.
Exactly. The most important question is, what are you looking for? Like, a lot of people ignore that question or are just afraid to ask that, but you need to do that. It will let you know how this person sees you and if he sees any future with you and what kind of future. So you have to ask that question on the first date, actually. It's important and beneficial for you to know. But like, if you're down to anything, then I guess you would be down to get your heart broken later on. So like, it's really important to know what this person is looking for. If he's looking for something casual and you're looking for something casual too, then you're a match. Um but if you have differences, then I guess that's not what you should do. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So if he was looking for something like go with the flow, like I'm not looking for anything serious, but I was, should I still like, consider a second date with this person? Should I still move forward? Because like, I know you don't just find relationships, you have to build them, right? So I'm like, is this like still a good opportunity for me to kind of build with this person? Or because they said they're not looking for anything serious, it automatically means that like there's no potential chance or opportunity for me to kind of get serious with this person. Like, is it like, do you know what I mean? What should I do if I'm looking for something serious? They're looking for something go with the flow. Like, should I still continue or no? Or
Did he say specifically that he wanted only casual,
like if he's just like, I'm not
close?
looking for anything serious like that. Like if he's just like, I'm not looking for anything serious. I just got out of a relationship, or I'm I'm down to do like, the Netflix and chill, like anything like that. And I'm like, oh, like I want to do that too. But I know how I am. Like I catch feelings. So I'm like, but I'm looking for something serious. But I'm like, you know what? I can go with the flow for a bit, but my end goal is to have a serious relationship. Like, could I still kind of do something like that? Like, is that a risky chance look there?
I've been on that place a couple of times, and I would say, like, if a guy tells you he's not looking for anything serious, he means that. Like, he's probably not going to change his mind. You're not going to change his mind. Like, I know that girls are like that. Like, we're so complicated, and like, we think that, okay, like, he doesn't want anything serious, but he will want that in the future because I'm going to change. Like, I'm such a perfect
Yeah.
girl. Like, come on. He's gonna think that and he's gonna like change it. He's gonna marry me, wife me up. But that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Because like, if a guy
I feel like you're
is
just pushing everything. Like you're just buttering me up. I'm like, yes, Yana, yes. You're like, but that's not gonna happen. Never, never. Ever. I'm like, you just told me that there's no real Santa Claus. Like, oh my goodness. I'm just like, oh, getting so warm in there. And then go ahead. So go ahead, continue. So that's
no,
not gonna happen.
yeah, it's not gonna happen. The good sign, if a guy says, I'm looking for someone constant,
Mm-hmm.
that means we're having a progress. He's looking for something serious. Like, he wants something constantly. It means
Mm-hmm.
that he's done with like going out with multiple girls, so he's ready for something stable. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
this is a good sign. But if he says he's not looking for anything serious, that means he's not looking for anything serious, and you're not going to change it.
And that kind of brings me
Also,
to my next two questions though. So like, if what if it was opposite? So what if I'm the one who's looking for something like not serious or anything like that, but a guy is like looking for something serious? Is it still okay for me to kind of like, does that just end up me hurting him or something, or him just being like, cutting me off? Like, does that just not go anywhere either? Like, how does that work too? Is that the same situation?
I mean, it depends on a guy. Like if he wants to stick around with you
Hmm.
when you don't want anything serious,
Hmm. I guess
no.
too, yeah. And then the second thing is, what happens if a person says that they don't know what they want? So you know how you said it's an important question to ask, what are you looking for? What if somebody says,
Yeah.
I don't know?
That's a bad sign. That's a red flag we
Oh,
were talking.
she's like, oh, let's go back to the other question. That's a red
Yeah.
flag. That's a red flag of what? What does that mean? Is that like it's just like what do you mean? Like how is that, like is it just bad? Like I should be like, oh my gosh, like what does he mean by that? Like is he just confused?
No, he just like genuinely doesn't know what he wants. And like he just
Then are you
doesn't
saying
want
it's a red flag because it can get me hurt or
it can get you hurt because you can catch feelings and he's not gonna give a damn about it.
no?
I
Oh
feel like
my,
I'm gonna make you cry. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm like, when I come off of here, I feel like I'm holding it together. And the moment we finish like this live, I'm gonna be like, this is it. Like
Oh, please
everybody.
don't. I didn't want you to
No,
cry.
no, no. It's okay. I'm not gonna. Well, I can't promise I won't cry, but no, I think this is actually really important. I told you it before. I've never fed the truth like it is, but tell it what it, tell it like it is, it's what it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like I never get the inside like view of guys' minds. So like you're telling me all of that. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like now that you tell me all of these type of things, it's like I'm realizing every single mistake I've made. Like you're like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, I already did, Deanna. I already messaged them. Like, I'm asking them, what's this or
I
this?
mean, I've been there. I've been through all of this and I've
Mhm.
learned.
Oh gosh. I guess learning it, I guess, so that I don't make the same mistake again is
Yeah.
okay, but it sucks. And then how has online dating been affected due to COVID? Like, do you think it's kind of changed like the whole kind of game that's going on? Do you think it's changed like the dating kind of like, field or area of relationships? Like, how do you think? Like, what do you think?
It has been affected a lot. Online dating is becoming a huge because right now we don't have opportunities to meet people. Like we
Mhm.
do it online, and if we want to meet someone, the options are limited and beyond Netflix and chill because you can't go to parties, bars,
So it's like online Zoom and chill.
lounges,
Like,
and nowhere. Yes,
oh my
yeah, it
goodness.
has been affected a lot.
Mhm. So like do you think it's still safe? So like I know a lot of dating apps have been popping up on my phone too. Even like ads and stuff, they've been trying to promote their stuff. Um I guess cuz is this kind of like long distance kind of dating? Like would you say like cuz like what is this like then? Cuz I mean, can we still go out with these people as long as we're wearing a mask or whatever? But we just I mean, this helps with the 90-day thing, right? I guess if I'm telling 90 days, I'm like, okay, I guess maybe hopefully a vaccine comes out in 90 days, but like just I guess does that make I guess it makes it easier, but like yeah, what do you think like about all of that? Like I don't know. Because I was saying how's it affected, whatever, but do you think like we can still go out on dates and stuff? Like does it take away like the opportunity to kind of get serious with a person, or is this an opportunity for them to get to know us more since it's online, or what do you think?
I think that if you really like each other, like genuinely, you will figure something out. Like you
Mm-hmm.
will figure anything to meet each other, like even simple FaceTime. Like I've heard, like I've seen people doing FaceTime dates, which was really cute and adorable.
FaceTime dates. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
they're like dressing up and like all those like wine, romantic dinner stuff, like candles, and it's all on FaceTime or Zoom, like whatever. So that
Mm-hmm.
was beautiful. You
Oh
can do
my
that.
gosh, that is beautiful. I guess that does help. But then what if he has bad Wi-Fi and you're just sitting there like with the wine, like, are you unfrozen yet? Like, and you're just there drinking away, like, oh, I finished my whole meal actually, but thanks for thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's technical issue. We can't do like anything about it.
I guess so. I guess it does feel like a little bit more, I guess, like a long distance dating, I guess, in some ways too, just because of that and stuff. And then the last question was kind of like about the Her network thing. And this is like one I put in there. So I said, how has the Her network been so far for you? And like, are you thinking of talking about other things on your show, like giving relationship advice or how to set healthy boundaries when starting a relationship? I know we already kind of talked about that today. I guess I wrote these questions way before, but like, is each episode going to be dedicated to different things? Is it about different apps? Like what? So I want to find out more about your episode. This was supposed to be all on lavish, but we never got the time. But you can still talk about it here, I guess, too, for the future viewers and stuff.
Yeah, so it's been pretty awesome on her network. I feel so warm being a part of something empowering as her
Hardworking,
network.
empowering, and resilient, right? Mhm.
Already in our heads. So I'm gonna like talk about any sorts of things around online dating. I'm gonna give tips on how to succeed in online dating. I'm gonna talk about
Woo!
people on online dating, like different kinds of people you can meet on dating apps. I'm gonna talk about catfishes, imposters.
Finally. Oh my goodness. I need those red flags on the profiles, because I'm like, how do you know if it's real? How do you know if it's not? Is this from Google? Like, oh my gosh. Definitely continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so in general, we're gonna talk about the issues of modern dating
Mhm.
lives of young people.
I love that. I love that. And I feel like a lot of the advice you give, like from what I've seen so far too, kind of not only resonates with younger people, it also resonates with like older ones too. Cause I feel like yours is so like, cause I feel like there's older people who are on these apps too. Like I never really thought they would be, but there are like, I set my thing to 100. So I know from Tinder, like, so I know like there's been some older people too. Obviously they speak differently from like the younger ones, but like
Yeah.
it's been good so far. But I love that, and I loved having you on my show. I loved all the advice you've given me. So like if I have any more questions, I'm gonna be DMing you all of it and being like, Deanna, can you talk about this on your show today? Hey Deanna, can you talk about this? I'm definitely gonna send you questions. Like I know my friends have so much things too. They were like, oh my gosh, you didn't get to finish, you didn't answer my question. Like because I had like I asked them too, like, what do you think we should ask her? Like, this is the time, guys, speed it up, because I told you we don't like know how to like speak to each other about it. But I'm so grateful and so glad that we have somebody like you in our lives now that can kind of give us the truth, because we're also afraid to give it to each other. But you gave me the truth today, and I feel a little bit stronger in many ways. I feel like now that I know, like, the way to get guys like unintentionally is like, focusing on yourself, doing your own thing. That's when they're gonna come in anyways.
Song, yeah.
So I guess I just pick and choose from there. And then I'm glad you gave me the advice on the red flags too, because I think that's really important in terms of like starting a relationship. Because I know a lot of like things always show saying like, how come you didn't see this from the beginning? You know what I mean? I always get those questions, like, or even like in my head, like after like further in, and I'm like, how did I not see that he was still obsessed with his ex from the beginning of the relationship? I should have seen, as you said before, red flags. Talking about your ex is like, it's obviously still disrespectful, but he's still not over her, and that is a good sign, or over him, or whoever it is. You know what I mean? It's a good sign, like, what you're saying. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, I'm just so grateful. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was great to have you on my show. This show can also be heard on the Burn Burner Radio Network on its 122 platforms. The Her Network is part of the Burn Burner Media Network. Please check out www.barnburner.ca for all the news and programming. Barn Burner, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.